All right, guys, to get ready for some of your next projects, there's just a couple things I kind of want to talk about. One, I kind of want to talk about bringing this idea of like a health bar into action. So in this game, we're going to have this lady have a health bar, and we're going to shoot at her and make the health bar move. So I created this little turret thing with just a round sprite like this. I just made a sprite and put it right there. Um, he's not going to be moving. The key thing is I broke the turret into two spots. One with this kind of long, it's just like a kind of rectangle, right? And then I just got this sprite off the internet. Right? Now you'll notice that I had to do something a little bit weird. I had to put the balance point right there. If you try to have the balance point in the middle of it, it's not going to work for this thing, right? Okay, and just remember because we're gonna be shooting this, and I'm gonna be doing like a point towards. Just remember that point towards, they want it on this right side, so it doesn't know that the image, like the rocket, like we all can tell that this is the front of the rocket, but the front of the rocket is always gonna be the right page, the right side of the page. So originally this image was a vertical one, and I had to do the old grab tool like this and give it a rotate, right? But I don't want to do that right now, so yeah, we're off. So just a couple things before we get going here. I have this woman right here, and I have this health bar. So this health bar, let's look at it. I just made it. It's a whole bunch of these costumes. So it starts off with all green, and then gets a little bit more red each time all the way through. So anyway, pretty straightforward to make. Just make sure that you have one kind of centered up and duplicate it, and just I just painted in a line and filled with this bucket, right? So I have all those costumes. The thing is, I want it to kind of look like this. So like the health is over, just like in any old desktop tower defense game that you've ever played, right? And so the way is I need to connect these two. No matter where she goes, I want this thing on top of her. So this is how I did it. I said, okay, when this thing's clicked, I want to switch to costume 2. Now costume 2 is the very first costume, so it's the all green. So get there, and forever always be just going to a position. Now the position that we chose right off the bat could be any position, but I want it to be related to this lady, right? So it's going to be something like the X position of the woman walking and the Y position of the woman walking, right? But that's not going to be enough. I'm going to need to. Well, let's just see what that looks like, right? So as she moves, that thing is connected to her, but it's like in her belt, right? I want to move it up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add just a little thing right here, and I'm going to say the Y position of the woman walking, and then I'm just going to add 50 to it. So now you can see wherever she moves, now that thing's locked above her. Right? Okay, so in this game, we're going to play from the perspective of us trying to kill Grandma. She had it coming. She dressed like an idiot. But anyway, so we want to give her the health. We're going to have her be auto-controlled. So when the start things clicked, I just did this. I just gave it some random directions to fill in here, right? So she's going to be gliding in these random kind of directions. And is there anything else that she should be doing? Well, no, I think that's good. So the turret, I had it. So like I said, this thing is it's its own thing, right? So it takes a little bit of figuring, but I want to have it always be pointing towards the woman waving, right? So I just had it go to that central point and then forever point towards that woman, right, like that. So now this person's going in a whole bunch of random directions, and this thing's pointing towards her. Um, and now, and there's a little bit of trial and error there because it's hinging on this point right here, and that's because in my costume, you can see I put the balance point right there at one of the ends. So it's rotating kind of like this way around that central point. So we don't always have to have things with this thing centered in the middle, right? Okay. So most of our scripts then are going to be on this rocket thing. Basically, what I want the rocket to do is I want to control it. When I press spacebar, let's say, I want it to shoot out, point in her direction, and start moving. Right? So how about this? This is the basic controls. Forever, if this key is pressed, I want some things to happen. The very first thing I want to have happen, and there's a whole bunch of different ways to do this, right? Here's some of the basic ones, right? So I can have it go to this certain position. That's right there, right? I want it to show, and maybe we want it to hide originally. Yep. So every time we press space, it'll show up. It'll go to the correct spot. You could flip those too if you want to. It'll happen instantaneously. But I want to point towards the woman waving, and until I touch the edge, move 5 spots. Let's see how that works. So I'm going to press space, and nothing much is happening, right? Sometimes it shoots, but it feels like it should be shooting a lot more, right? What's happening is it's getting stuck. Let's see where this is right here. See how it's getting stuck right there? So sometimes that is touching the edge, depending on where she's at. This is just a little bit too close. So I'm going to move it right here away from the wall. And so then now this will be the new position I want it to go to. So go there, show, point towards the woman, and do all the repeating. See how that works. Yep. Awesome. And now it'll shoot whenever I want to, and I can't shoot it again because it has to wait until the wall goes. Well, the way to get around that is now if I want to press the space thing, I'm going to create a clone of myself. So like it'll create another rocket. So this clone thing is kind of nice, but it's going to take there's a couple little things that can sometimes happen, or it's going to problem shoot that. So when I start as a clone, I want to go to this position and show myself. I'm going to point towards it. So same move. And I'm going to repeat till I touch the edge and then hide. Okay. So you can see what happens already. I can just kind of like send out a wave after wave of missiles, right? So and even if I try to just send out one missile, it's very tough to do, right? It's because the space bar, it's checking to see if the space bar is down very, very fast, faster than my reflexes. So what I'm going to do is, if the key is pressed, I'm going to create a clone of myself. And then I'm going to wait half a second. So let's see how that works. Now I can shoot one every half second. Okay. For whatever game you're playing, we can change this to, you know, if you want to have a little bit more like machine gun style, you can have it go like this, right? That'd be kind of overpowering, I think. So I'm going to go like 1 second. It's actually probably a good idea if you want to make this game more complex to create a variable. That would be like the speed of the shot, and have this be a variable, right? So we could divide the speed of the shot by 2 every time that a certain thing is reached, or if there's something that is collected, right? And that'd be a way of increasing, like progressing, right? Okay. Now we've been. I did that. Dang it. So I'm going to do here, wait 1 second, and we're off. Now the only thing is, I don't have any way of this thing changing costumes to the next costume, right? I've got all these costumes here. So what I want to do is, when this thing is shooting, and in this repeat thing, it's going to move 5, and then I want it to check. Then I move 5, and then I want it to check to see if it's touching. So I'm going to, after it moves, I want it to check to see if it's touching the woman waving, right? And then I'm going to use a broadcast feature. So that's in here, and I'm going to broadcast hurt. It's a variable that I already had in here. That means that we hurt her, right? And if I do hit her, right, and let's get one of these to work here. See how it just goes right through her? That's not very gratifying. If I do hurt her, I could do like a hide, and I may even want to do like add like a sound in there, right, before it hides. So now if we hit her, it could take a while. Oh, there we go. Now it disappears, right? Closer to gameplay that we'd actually see. So when a broadcast hurt, what needs to change? Well, the broadcast thing is nice because this is shared between all the different, it like sends out a message to every other sprite. So this one right here, when it receives the message hurt, all we need to do is flip over to next costume. So let's run through this and see how it goes. Yep, got a little damage there. And she's taking damage, right? If I want to come up with an in-game, right here, I would want to do, okay, what's her last costume? Her last costume is costume 16. So I'd want to do something like when forever and here, and I'm going to send checking that. If costume number, here we go. So if my costume number is equal to 16, then I'm going to broadcast a new message, not hurt this time. Gasme over. There you go, game over. And then this broadcast message, we can have her do something when she receives that game over. We could have a lot of things happen. But that's the basics of kind of having a health bar. And yeah, I think that should get you a pretty good start on your desktop tower defense game.